What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Northeast Florida surf fishing forecast for the next few days. Monday, the water started off Monday morning. The water wasn't too clean. As the day went on, it actually cleaned up really nice and got some good reports of whiting, Spanish mackerel, some speckled trout in the surf, and plenty of big sharks. There were several spinners, black tips, and bull sharks caught in the Jack's Beach area. People using big mullet. So if you want a shark, now's the time to do it, guys, with the mullet being so thick. The sharks are really cruising in shallow, as well as a lot of big stingrays. So watch where you're walking. Try, if you're gonna fish for sharks, try not to do it where there's a lot of swimmers. Reeling in a angry shark amongst a lot of swimmers doesn't usually work out well. What's up, Big Ben? Other than that, water temperatures are still holding steady at 82, 83 from Flagler all the way to Fernandina. I was checking out the North Carolina temperatures. A few places it was 78, but that's going to change. Pretty strong cold front coming through. If you see the picture for the video, that's the forecast for Thursday. High of 74, guys. If it's 74 here for a high, in the Carolinas, it's going to be much colder. And the faster it gets colder up there, the sooner the pompano will be down here. In fact, over the weekend, there were actually a few So I saw several pictures of some decent pompano, 12 to 15 inches. Yep, Matt, it's coming. Been doing good, Ben. Hope you're doing well too. But next few days, looking at Tuesday, Wednesday, southwest winds in the morning, switching over to the southeast. And then Wednesday afternoon, evening, looks like maybe 10, 11 o'clock, the front's coming through and it's going to be west-northwest, switching over to the northwest. And on Thursday, they're calling for like northwest to north winds. Hey, Buckness. And that's why it's going to be cool. It's going to be refreshing for fishermen and especially when I'm cutting yards, guys. Cody, man, the sharks are so thick right now and they're hungry. Hungry. They're eating everything. If you if you got a fish on, you want to get them. How's it going, Scott? You want to get those fish in as fast as possible. And you know, you might not think of it fishing in the surf, you're catching whiting or pompano. Don't play around with it. Get these fish in. And if you do throw a fish back and if he's bleeding or anything, man, I would try to get get it as far away from where you're fishing as possible, preferably not around any swimmers, because all it takes is a drop of blood and no sharks are on it. I mean, these are decent sized fish. I saw one of them, it was probably 5 or 6 foot, looked like a spinner shark. It was very healthy and it took quite a bit of line and then just was gone. It cut right through the leader, I think 80-pound leader. Oh man, that's great to hear in Daytona. What were they biting on? Sand fleas or shrimp, fish bites? Speaking of whiting, a lot of big whiting were caught up in Jack's Beach Saturday and Sunday into clean water. And the people, oh nice, so they're hitting everything. They were catching them on sand fleas. In fact, this afternoon when I went down to the beach to check, schools of sand fleas are everywhere. A lot of big ones, so you gotta actually sort through them to make sure you get the smaller ones. Small to medium, which I prefer for the whiting and pompano. A little bit bigger for the reds if you're targeting the reds. And don't forget the big stingrays love sand fleas too, unfortunately. And if your rod goes over and it's just a steady pool with no head shake, you more than likely have a stingray. So don't waste your time. Hopefully you get your rig back. That's why I like to use a lot lighter leader than my actual main line. So if I get a big stingray on that I know I'm not gonna be able to get in, I'll just go ahead and pop it off. That's why I bring multiple rigs already tied up to put them right back on. Now, if I have a Sputnik on, of course, I'm not gonna try to break it off. I'm gonna try to get it in, but most of the time, if I just have a storm sinker, I'm not worried about losing that. Mullet were not so plentiful, at least in Ponte Vedra Monday morning, but as the day went on, they showed up all throughout Jack's Beach and everywhere else from what I heard. Like I said, bluefish and Spanish are going to town on them. There's reds cruising the surf. Over the weekend, I saw several nice redfish pictures. People are using either cut mullet or whole mullet just up and down the surf. Yeah, man, Ben, we got to get you on a flounder because they're around right now. And we got to get you on one before the season closes. They're getting nice and fat and eating all these mullet. And looking at the pier, when I checked out the pier this afternoon, they're almost a couple sections away from actually working on the T section. So let's hope we don't have any storms or anything to slow them down. That'd be nice. It'd be a lot nicer to be up on the pier fishing when the current is screaming versus trying to fish in the surf for whiting when you need to use a ton of weight to hold. But like I said, plenty of sand fleas, plenty of mullet. The shrimpers are getting quite a few shrimp now. Last few days have been really good for them. So the local bait shops should all have fresh river shrimp. I hate using West Coast shrimp, and I hate using the pink shrimp from South Florida, is what they call it. If you can get fresh shrimp in this area, try to get them local. The brown river shrimp. There's several places on Heckscher. Most of the bait stores have them. And a couple times, when I'm going whiting fishing in the fall, I'll buy 3 to 4 dozen and then put them on ice and break them in half, and those whiting go nuts for me. And if you don't want to buy them, grab you a net. They're catching them downtown in other areas. So like Chip, the sinker guy, he's been loading up on them and just putting them in, I think, half-pound bags. So he'll be ready to go when these whiting and pompano start. In fact, when the pompano do come down this way, yes, they love sand fleas and clam and crab knuckles, but they have no issue eating one of those brown river shrimp. Because you got to remember, as the pompano are coming through, the water's dropping. Well, as that water drops, what else is coming out of the river? The shrimp. They'll be heading out to the ocean. So a lot of times people are using live shrimp on floats and such around like the jetties, the Mayport jetties, Huguenot area, Talbot, anywhere where shrimp are coming out of the river. Those pompano are focused in on them as well as everything else. So you can't go wrong with fresh shrimp this time of year as well. But water's still 82. That should change. If we have a high of 74, but the low's not going to be, I think I saw 65. What we need is like several days of highs in the low 70s and some lows in maybe upper 50s, lower 60s. Drop that water temp. It's 83 right now. Once you get down to about 77, man, the beach is going to be so full of action. It already is right now, but you're going to have more pompano, more whiting, more reds, more drum, all cruising the surf. And the colder it gets, the faster those sharks get out of there, hopefully. We'll still have a lot of mullet coming. The mullet weren't as thick today as they have been the last several days, but don't fret, the mullet run. I mean, the river's still thick of mullet, so there's a lot of mullet that still have to empty out the river. Not to mention the mullet heading down from Georgia, the Carolinas, as that water gets cold up there. They all make the migration south, so lots of mullet to go. That's all we got, pretty much. I think tomorrow, Tuesday, chance of rain is like 60%. I think it's going to do the same thing. Show up in the afternoon, so just keep your eyes to the skies for that lightning, and hopefully the water don't get dirty with this south wind. It's still blowing. I checked out a couple of the winds, live wind wind stations along the beach, and it was like southeast at 15 about an hour ago in one of the storms, which I don't like because if it blows like that all night, it will dirty the water up fast. And today there was a strong south to north current. Water was still clean, so let's hope that doesn't change, because if we can keep that clean, and then it'll switch over to that northeast wind Thursday and Friday, man, fishing could be really good. The only problem with Friday, I know we're skipping ahead, is they're calling for some surf to be coming in late Thursday and then into Friday, up to 3 to 5 foot possibly. Yeah, have a good night, Ben. We need to get out and fish here soon. And yeah, so if you have Sputniks at low tide, no problem. Hopefully we'll get some reports from up north here in the Fernandina, Amelia Island area, Huguenot, Little Talbot. I know they're getting fish there. Those fish are there this time of year. If you know, you know. Little Talbot's a good area, guys. Go down up there, from where I am. I'm about 30 minutes away from it, maybe 25 actually, not too bad. But I love that place. Yeah, Cody, isn't it something how that works every time with the inlets, especially on the north side of the inlets? That south wind sends all that. All right, sounds good, Ben. That inlets on that north side, it's always clean, so those fish will hang in there. It's funny, you go on the south side of the inlet, dirty sharks, catfish, and stingrays. Go on the north side and you're catching the good fish that we all like to eat. Just how it is. That's what we try to do on this page, and I know the Sinker Guy, he puts out so many informational videos as well. We're just trying to help you guys have more successful fishing trips, because you know it's fishing is not a cheap hobby, if we want to call it that. I try to make it as cheap as possible because I catch most of my own bait. I hate buying bait, and this time of year with the sand fleas around and the mullet, I mean I'm a predominantly mullet, not sand flea type guy, depending on what I'm looking for. But as much as we spend on weights, bait, ice, fishing rods and reels, everything, it's not fun to come home empty-handed, right? Or not even get a bite. So that's why we do this. Let's have everybody having fun out there and enjoying themselves and sharing what they learn to the next person. Just paying it forward, man. That's what it's all about. That's what, as a kid running around on the old Jack's Beach Pier, I was asking 1,000 questions, but I only ask the people who are always catching. I don't want to ask questions to the one who's not catching, because I'm not going to learn anything most of the time. So for the guys that were always catching, man, I annoyed the heck out of them, but thankfully they were kind enough to show me what was going on and what they were doing, and ever since then, I've been doing the same, helping others out. And just remember, as a fisherman, you can never stop learning. There's always something we can learn. And that applies to everything in life. You never stop learning. Every day you can learn something new, and then pay it forward. Thank you guys for watching and for subscribing. Tell your friends about us. Tell them to subscribe. And at the urging of my wife, I think we're going to be putting out some shirts, hopefully, and maybe some car decals. We've had a design for a while. I just have not really had a whole lot of opportunity to get it done. A lot of things going on around here. So hopefully that will be in the future. And hopefully some of you guys would like to buy some of the shirts and wear them and tell them what Broken Reel 23 is all about. Y'all guys have a good night. Have a great few days. If you're not on our Facebook page, remember, Broken Reel 23, look it up on Facebook. We got daily reports on there as well, and we got the Sandy Cam that we call it. She operates one of the cranes on the Jack's Beach Pier as they rebuild it, and she is gracious enough to constantly give us shots of the bait and what the water looks like, and it's been really fun the last few weeks because she has some great videos of the mullet absolutely getting destroyed by Spanish and such. So check us out. Y'all guys have a great night.